Hello, I'm Shreya Sood. I'm a student at the Maharishi International University and I'm studying the MBA in Sustainable Business.
And I'm Ryan Higgins. I am a senior at Fairfield High School, and I am finishing up I'm finishing up my final year now, and I am going to be going to college at Arizona State, where I will major in political science.
And we're both Sierra Club volunteers and we're here to talk about the influence that has had on us and our journey into sustainability and our journey into giving back to the community.
And so I joined the Sierra Club the beginning of my senior year, and I gotta say I'm very happy I did that, because before that I did not know as much as I did now about the environmentalism, climate change, and basically the sanctity of the earth in general, just about all those topics in general, and the role that we have in protecting those, and especially at the local level. Since we're involved in the Southeast Iowa chapter, our work focuses more about the protection of a lot of farmland, for example, because you're not going to find many like corn farms in California, but you might find a little, I don't know, but but Iowa, agriculture is a big thing for Iowa, and this with the Sierra Club, there's a lot more communication and emphasis on that end that I really notice.
Right, right. I feel like having this foundation here, like the Sierra Club, the people that are in the Sierra Club, having that resource here present in Fairfield helps students like us who are very keen and very interested and enthusiastic about sustainability and really see ourselves as stewards when it comes to the planet. But we need some sort of direction or some sort of guidance as to how do we really make an impact on our community, and if we're doing it, are we doing it right? How do we measure that impact? Is it something that is actually long lasting and sustainable? And then to have a community here in Fairfield with so many brilliant people, with so many deeply passionate people and highly experienced people willing to guide the youth, willing to guide people from all the various institutes here in Fairfield, the schools and universities, bring them on board, train us, guide us, encourage us. It's actually a very, very good gift and a very great gift, because there's only so much we can do in a classroom environment, and then we need to step out and actually bring those skills into a practical environment. And that's what we get when we participate in such activities with the Sierra Club and its likes.
Yeah, I like what you said there about the stewardship. I really feel like it's like a stewardship or like an apprentice kind of role that we have, but we're not going to be those people forever. We will soon fill the shoes of those people that are that's doing the work now, and in general, I would say that the role that young people have in addressing the issues of climate change are way more important than any other generation that has come before us, because we are going to be the people that face those threats and those issues, because those generations before us, there will be a time where they will be long since gone, and we will be older, and we will be facing the threat of climate change and actually experiencing the results of that we are trying to not have happen. And the big question is, how do we address those? What do we do with what we have now to address these things? I know that when it comes to it comes from the top, like in my opinion, like with a lot making laws and the legislature and lawmakers. But there's got to be like a lower level of that to ignite that process of happening.
Right, right. That makes a lot of sense. And that's the thing. We can have a system, right, where we have laws, where we have a legislation, and then we need willing participants. We need open hearts. And that's where like the global systems meet the local systems. And doing work at a local level, doing work at a grassroots level becomes a doorway to like larger and larger systems. This reminds me of something you were speaking about earlier, where it's where legislation is one level, and then we come down to opening our own hearts through celebrating this paradigm shift into sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. And that celebration can come in many forms. It can arrive through music and dance, and having just a festive time, right? This doesn't have to be a gloomy, horrible, sad process. The solving climate change and solving those problems doesn't have to be a horrible thing and worst thing. It's in fact it's on the contrary. It's like really inspiring about the work that we can do and like the potential that we have as individuals on this earth.
Right. You know, that reminds me of a very beautiful quote by Paul Hawken, who is the editor of this book. It's called Drawdown, which has, they've researched 100 different climate solutions, and they've budgeted those climate solutions as well. That if we were to implement these solutions, how much money would it take and how much carbon would be mitigated from the environment. And he says that maybe this is not a time for gloom. Instead, it's a time for a shift to understand that, okay, we made a mistake. Now we learned a lesson. How do we go about with the change? So it's actually a celebration because now we learned a lesson. It's like in our personal lives when something goes haywire and when it finally dawns upon us that we've been erroneous, and then we have an epiphany or we have a deep realization. It's actually a very joyful moment, so we can create some change. And that's what it's like now. And in the history of the planet, it's actually quite a short time, this mistake that we've made. So we do have a lot of time with willing participation to change the trajectory of this. And this is really where these collaborations, like the one that we have with the Sierra Club, and I'm sure that other youth have with many different willing and giving foundations around the world, and mentors who have such big and large hearts, where we really learn how to find our voice, how to direct our voice in the most efficient way, and feel empowered in the process so that we can take on bigger and bigger challenges within our community and globally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should have a list of things, a list of steps for people in the future that they should follow to solve this problem, right? Mm-hmm. Like the number one thing I would say is to be inspired from what we've said. From what we've said, be inspired. Don't be inspired by that. I'm just kidding. But be inspired, right? Find inspiration in your life and through something, whether it's music or dance or festivity or your friends or anything you like at all. Mm-hmm. And use that same energy and that same inspiration to address the issues of climate change and the positives of sustainability. That's the first thing. And the second thing that I definitely think is also very important is don't lose hope. Mm-hmm. You know, these two go hand in hand. Be inspired, don't lose hope. Because while we are looking at a very big threat of climate change and global warming, we cannot afford to lose hope. we're on this planet for only a couple decades. It seems like it's our lifespan is so short. So do not lose hope in what we do, because we do not have time for that. And there's always time to be inspired with this life and solving this.
Right. That's very beautiful. And two things come to mind from what you said for me. One is however it expresses through you, whether it's through dance, whether it's through art. You know, there are musicians who sing about climate, who sing about the earth, who want to heal the earth through their words and their music. There are some who do it through art and pictures and paintings. There are some who do it through science and they get into climate tech. Mm-hmm. So there are so many spaces, there are so many places, and there's enough for everybody. And as we gain that inspiration from our inner self, and we find our own voice and our own place, and we find exactly how we can contribute to this issue in a way that is true to our own heart and our own path, we allow that inspiration to turn to hope, and allow that hope to turn into faith. Because even though this issue seems like it is larger than any of us, all of us put together are larger than this issue. And if we have faith that this problem, this dark time that we have gone through as an Earth community, is actually leading us into a much lighter time, a more coherent time, a much more united time. You know, there was a time where we all went our separate ways, and now we're all coming back together with a primary and common purpose. And so we allow that hope to turn into faith that yes, we will do something great. And there are so many pockets of great people who are doing really beautiful things and living in very harmonious ways right now. So as much as we have our news that keeps dividing us and giving us fragmented pictures of what is happening, we also have people who are uniting us and uniting themselves with a vision. So yeah, we allow inspiration, hope, and faith.
And once we find that, and once we will achieve that, because we will do that, I believe we will, we need to take action about this, right? Take action, like write your lawmakers, petition, peacefully protest, represent this issue, mm-hmm. and work together to through, and like you said, through science, right? And keep innovating technology and embrace that, because all of those things, that's where we need to go with this. That is the way we need to go.
Mm-hmm. And this is exactly where, when we start taking action, where collaborations start to matter, where bringing communities together starts to matter, and learning from each other's experience, from each other's mistakes. You know, we might sometimes have this funny divide that it was the generation before us that handed us the earth the way it is right now. But they also come with so much experience about about the kind of things that you shouldn't probably be doing. So these collaborations really matter. And when somebody opens up a pathway to mentorship, to help you navigate through systems that you may not fully understand at the moment, it's such a great blessing. And then from that, to create initiatives on the local level where other youth can participate, where people can really start to feel like, okay, they're making a large difference, or they're making a difference that has ripple effects. So these initiatives are very, very important to climate action.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's great to say there. I mean, if there's one phrase that can really sum this up, is regeneration this generation.
Oh yes, regeneration this generation.
This generation, not the next generation. This one. Let's do it now.
Yeah, and let's do it together.
Yep.